Okay, good morning. Um, I'm fine, thank you very much. So it's a Saturday and it's a summertime, but it's a good time to really um, start the class. Um, First of all, I just want to ask you, can you hear my voice? If anybody cannot hear my voice, let me know, please. Okay. Um, we will today we'll talk about a few things about the process, and we will talk about the assignments and the quizzes, and also we'll be hopefully we will finish one chapter today. So let's start right away. The whole thing is there is a certain material that I need to deliver it to the class, and sometimes it takes sometimes to deliver these classes. Good afternoon, Karen. So I will first of all let me start with something. We I have set up a few sites for you, and I will send you the links for them to visit them. I set up a Facebook site, a Yammer site, a Padlet site, and I think it's going to be one more site going on. And it's all because I like the collaborations of the class, the teamwork. It's a more important for me than individual work, because most of the I will talk about that, how you're going to do and set up the whole the group. Now the reason is I created these sites is because I'm expecting you to go on this site and collaborate, share ideas, share thoughts. But most important, I also would like you in the same time, you go and there and fix up your group setup. Um, each group should not have less than 5 people. So if you are 4 people, you can announce on that site, on the Padlet site, saying, we are 4 people and we're looking for one more person, or we are 3 people, we're looking for 2 more people. Okay, so you announce that. In the same time, person who's not part of any group should also announce saying, I am alone, I don't have a group. Please, anybody wants to, uh, take me as one member of the group. So let me see if I can here. I put the whole site that I like you to go and see them. So it's important that you visit all of these, and in the same time, probably I want you to go and see them, explore them, and be a member. So I will share the screen to show you this site, and please go and see if you can add yourself in. Now, the first site that I have created is called probably Padlet, and most of you are aware of that. Okay, so you go and sign up, sign in, and go to the Padlet and click on marketing research and start working on it. Here I left your comment. You can leave your comment and your thoughts. And even if you're looking for a team member, you just go and write a comment here. So I want you to be very active on this Padlet, because later on we will be using it for a group meeting, group discussions, questions. It's a collaboration tool. So if you're in my supply chain management class, you go and click on that. If you're in also another class, you just click on the marketing one, or there is a 3 Padlet there. You click on the right Padlet on it, because there are 3 Padlet, as I said. One's for marketing research, one for supply chain management, and one for entrepreneurship. Now, the second thing that I created for you guys is probably the easiest one is the Facebook. So please try to go and select the Facebook. I will send you the link, and here we can share all information between or for the class. So it is a club thing for you guys to add in there. The other one that I wanted to be active is probably it's one of Microsoft products. It's called Yammer. Now, I will send you all these links plus the link of today's lecture. And in Yammer is a very similar to the Facebook. So please, once I send you the link, you go in. It's an educational solution for a sort of an educational solution for us. So you go in there, and you also be proactive with the whole class. So between all these tools, I'm expecting you will be fine to set up your team. If you are not member of a team, you can find on these 3 sites, or probably the dashboard, Padlet dashboard and Yammer, a group that they are made of 4 or less, announcing that they're looking for a member, and you can join them. That's one thing. So please work on that, because if you want also to switch between groups, you can announce it there, saying I'm in this group and I want to join. I want to join the other group. Anybody is willing to switch between me and them. So it's an issue that I need you guys to come up with the final solution, because we're not here to basically we're not here to make sure to accommodate a perfect group. Now, the other thing that I like you to know about it, if just in case any group in the end of the year, I will get your report about the collaboration that's happened toward the assignment, and how is all the members are active in it. That will influence the final mark for the assignment. Because if somebody just sits back and not active in that group, he should not be, and somebody else is carrying his work, he should not be getting as mark as everybody else. So a group work and group evaluation will be done in the end of the semester. And I put a very heavy weight on your in this semester on the final assignment, which is very important for you to realize that in the real world, if you're now working as a team member, as a work group, it's probably very difficult to move on. Now, you could have two people in the group, but in a real life, but working alone is almost your accomplishment will be much less. So try to work with it. So I will probably try to okay. Now, I'm just launching this the poll again to see how do you feel about it. Okay, that's good. Good to know that. That's everybody is fine with having on Saturday a class. So am I in general. Now, I'm going to give it another 15 seconds just to get your answers. And probably I will share it with you. Okay. Okay. So now, okay, we'll start with the new class, But before that, so the whole concept is the fact that I've created some site. This site is good for collaboration. Some of them you are fully aware of how to use it. Some of them probably new for you, but you want to make sure that you utilize all these tools for collaboration, for teamwork, for information. And I will be visiting this site, seeing how active you are, and see if you are probably have a question that you don't get you didn't get the answer for it. Now, we might have a next week a short quiz, but it mostly is not gonna. It's gonna be short answers. Probably it's gonna be end of the class, or I'm sorry, probably gonna be beginning of the class, because we want to, get rid of it, finish it, and move on with the lecture. The quiz would be probably probably 6 question, choose any 4. So that would be the questions send. And I need you to do as just short answers for it. Now, for the assignment, now, here's my suggestion, and it's up to you if you like to do it this way. Some of you guys are working with me on the class called Entrepreneurship. And part of the class of entrepreneurship, they need to present a business plan. And as you know, part of the business plan, it should be a marketing plan. And part marketing plan will be developed according to marketing research. So you can, as I said, good examples, you can hit two birds with one stone, where you, if your team, one of them at least, is probably as a part of entrepreneurship class, they can use, do this marketing plan, marketing research plan, and then utilize that to do the business plan in entrepreneurship. So in the entrepreneurship, you don't need to start from the scratch. You just utilize this business with a reference saying, I've used it from the other class. Because in this class, you need also to come up with a final group assignment, which is a marketing research. Now, in this assignment, you need to come up, first of all, come up with a proposal, which is today we're going to go through it, how you write a proposal. And then you submit it to me, and it will be part of the evaluation of, it could be replacing one of the second or third assignment. And once it gets accepted, then the whole team will work together on building that the business plan, the marketing research plan. So we will be developing this as we go along, and we'll be answering more questions for you guys during these coming sessions. Plus, if you have any questions, you can also send it to me in my email, or best thing, you can leave it on the Padlet or Yammer, or even on the Facebook that I'm going to send to you. So utilize these things to make sure that you are up to date. Because there's a one thing, once we post something, an answer on a Padlet, it's easier for all of us to see it, so that we don't have to ask the same question again and again. So, and this is what I'm looking for, is having all these collaboration tools will save us some more time on answering the same question again and again, and also will create a collaboration and a group work team. So for example, if you have a question about saying, in your marketing research plan, and saying on the subject, you just write it down and says, how are we supposed to do our proposal? I will answer it. So anybody comes in on that, from that class, look at the Padlet or Yammer, will see the answer there. And we don't need to spend more time on repeating the same question. But if you don't find it there, or you don't feel like to go there and you want me to answer it, I will do it. I will be more glad to do that. But you will be, if you're going there first and you don't find a satisfactory answers, and then you ask me, and I will explain it to you on the class. So that's probably the timing of everybody's. Now, I would like to repeat one more thing. As I said, class attendance is not important for me. Class participation is important for me. So if you're not attending, you're not participating. But I'll do a class attendance every week, and I'll download it from Zoom, and I will submit it to Alpha College because they need this thing. So the class attendance, it is done automatically according to your name and email signed up in it. So once again, no worry about the class attendance because I can download it easily from the Zoom application. Is there any question? Okay, sure. Um, okay, I'm reading just the questions. Now, once again, as I said, if you don't know your group, you just post that on a Padlet or the Facebook or the Yammer that I'm gonna send to you, or post it on the three of them. If anybody says yes, you're my group, so you became one of the group. If it's they don't have you're not a member of that group, any other group who's made of 3, 4 people, they have also to announce that we are made of 3 people or 4 people because I don't accept a group less than 5. Okay, and there where you share your application or you wanting to join that group. So this is probably is the best way to know your group. I'm not about to come and make sure that X belong to this group, B belong to that group. My goal is you're supposed to set up your group and you come up with me, sending me an email saying, this is my group, as we did it in the last class. And some of you guys, I divided you guys on a different group, but some of you refused to join. Now, when you refuse to join, it means one thing, you want to take the responsibility to allocate your own group. So I'm okay with that. And I'm telling you the way you're supposed to do it. You can announce it on the link that I'm going to send it to on the Padlet, and says I am who is in my group, or I don't have a group. And once you see in a group who's adopting you, you join them. Okay. If a group that is less than 5 people, I will ask them, please make sure they are 5 to 6 people. Less than 5 people, unless you have a good reason, then you let me know by email saying we are 4 and we couldn't find the 5th one. So, and by that time, I might be able to help you to put you in a group. But right now, I've already created the places for you guys to just be a member. Yes, you can be up to 6, but no more than 6 people. So please, between 5 to 6, that's the maximum. If you're 4, you go to Padlet and announce that. We are 4 and we're looking for the 5th one. If you're 3, say we are 3 and we're looking for 2 people. And if you don't get an answer from the Padlet, you just go and announce it in Yammer and in the Facebook the site that we have created. And this way, we're all going to be, saving time toward sharing the knowledge. So this is what that much I can speak about a group plan and a group meeting. Now, let's move on. Let me know if you have any other questions, because I am basically we need to move on to start focusing on the work than who is in my group and who is not in my group. It is during your week, on a week time, you can always announce that in your Padlet. Okay. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'm just gonna mute all of everybody, and please write to me. Now I'm gonna share a small video, a short video, showing you how you do a research. And because with this case that we are facing with the COVID-19, you don't need to go out and do primary data in a way. So you can rely always on the secondary data. And I will show you how you can utilize that. Okay. Just give me a second, please. So these are the site that I'm hoping you guys gonna meet and make sure you talk about them.
To know what your customers wanted before they even asked for it. Can you imagine what it would do for your business and your reputation to always have a collection of highly sought after products or services? You'd quickly become the go-to expert in your field, and customers would know they could count on you to solve their problems quickly and easily. And that's why on this episode, we're talking all about market research, and I'll give you 5 ways to know what your customers want before they even do. Hello and welcome, my name is Adam Earhart, and you're watching The Modern Marketing Show, where we take different marketing tactics, tools, tips, and strategies, and break them down into bite-sized, actionable clips that you can use to immediately take your business to the next level. So what do your customers want? Well, something I hear all the time from entrepreneurs and business owners is how it's getting harder and harder every day to know what the customer wants. Tastes and preferences seem to change overnight, and there appears, on the outside at least, to be no rhyme or reason to why certain products sell while others collect dust on the shelf. Back in the day, customers relied on the almighty salesperson to provide guidance, input, and advice on choosing the best product or service for them. The salesperson could then collect and interpret what the customer was saying and offer a solution. Now the salesperson has in many cases been replaced with Google, Amazon, YouTube, social media, and a variety of online review sites. This is great news though, and here's why. Where we once had the salesperson collecting info and interpreting customer requests, we now have billion-dollar data collection agencies working around the clock and providing you with more information than you could ever imagine. Not only this, for the most part, they're completely free. Sure, there are more detailed and complicated systems available, but the 5 resources we're talking about today are more than enough to get you started down the road of satisfying customer desires before they even know they exist. In my opinion, one of the least utilized and most valuable tools available in determining current market trends is none other than Google Trends. Google Trends allows you to track which keywords are increasing in popularity and provide suggestions for other terms that are rising in search volume. This is a hugely valuable tool and for the most part is largely ignored, which means that by using it, you're gaining valuable insights that your competitors are likely not using. The next way to learn what customers are thinking is another valuable tool from Google. To use the Keyword Planner, you first need to sign up for a free Google AdWords account. Even if you're not planning on advertising, it's still a good thing to have. From there, you can access their free Keyword Planner. Type in a keyword and receive not only the number of searches for that keyword, but also a list of suggested keywords that people are looking for online each and every month. Facebook Insights are another great resource to learn what kind of material resonates best with your current market. Of course, to do this, you're going to need a Facebook business page, but a Facebook business page is a good asset to have anyways, so if you don't have one already, now's the time. The best way to use Facebook Insights is to post a variety of different content to your business page, all related to your business of course, and then see which posts get the most engagement, such as likes, shares, and comments. From there, you can determine what type of content your audience is most interested in, so you can start to create more just like it, and eventually products and services around those subjects. If you have a small Facebook following or want to increase your testing even further, you can set up and run a simple Facebook ad campaign to test your ideas, messaging, images, and headlines on a much bigger scale. Just like with Facebook, Twitter also has the ability to view which tweets you send out are receiving the greatest engagement. And again, just like with Facebook, you can use this tool to test out what types of content and headlines seem to invoke the most audience response. Twitter also has a pretty powerful tool called Audiences. Twitter Audiences allow you to really drill down on the types of things your customers and followers are interested in. As an example, for my account, I can see that my audience is made up mostly of people interested in entrepreneurship, marketing, travel, and technology. I can also see that they're interested in exotic food, are online buyers, like premium brands, and fresh healthy food. This is only the tip of the iceberg, however, as the details go a lot deeper, and the ways to use this information to better understand your customers and followers is almost endless. The final piece of our customer understanding puzzle comes again from the search engine giant Google. This only makes sense though, as the most used search engine in the world is obviously well positioned to actively understand consumer trends, behaviors, and online activity. While all of the previous tools help to uncover thoughts, trends, and messages that have resonated with customers in the past, Google Alerts allows you to monitor what's happening with your customers right now. The way to use Google Alerts is to enter a keyword that you want to track into the search bar at the top of the page. Then Google will email you when this keyword appears online. You can use this to track your business name, the industry you're in, your own name, your competitors, or pretty much anything else you can think of. Using even one of these tools can help you gain a better understanding of your customers, but when you combine all five, you're really able to create a clear and compelling picture of your customers' wants, needs, and behaviors. And the better you understand them, the better you're able to come up with value-providing services and solutions to their problems. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and if you have any
Can you hear me? I think you should. Now, these are tools that you're not limited to them and you're not forced to use them. You can use any other tools that you think you can find online. But once you do that, you need to put a reference when you do your, first of all, in your proposal, you need to write me telling me which tool you're going to write. And then when you write your final research, you should have a reference saying, so you don't need to use Google's or Facebook or Twitter's. You might be using anything else like a KGG or I don't know, whatever the tool that you think you can dig in more data, secondary data in it, Wikipedia, any research tool that you can utilize it. Just as a group, you might divide this work and start evaluating each tool, and then as a group, you have some sharing thoughts saying which tools we're going to use, and to create the supporting secondary data. Now, it is. I hope every class we will minimize the announcement because the announcements are taking so much time from us. And by creating these collaboration tools will minimize our need for repeating the same issues like having a group, what's the assignment all about, and when it's the assignment dues and all these things. Now, so basically, when we start working on probably marketing and everywhere in the world, all things, there is a theory. Now, most of us think when we think about theory, we think that, okay, it's not fact, which is true. We in theory means the fact, the truth, the reality of that theory has not been approved yet. But that does not mean it's not answering our questions. Let me give you an example. In economics, macroeconomics, there is different theories. There is a theory called a transactional theory, which is very few economists follow that. But the problem with that is that theory is a very clear, near to reality, but it is not does not answer our questions. But when we talk about monetary theory, and some of you have taken the economics, it might not be very near to reality, but it answers most of the economist questions. We always know that if we increase the interest rate, the borrowing goes down, the spending goes down, and the spending goes down, the market slows down. Lower the interest rate of the borrowing goes up, and the market starts booming. So that's a theory, but it's answering the questions. But in a transactional theory, which is according to buy and sell, need and demand, does not answer these questions. So the more the theory is real, is answering our questions, the better. So it could be a really not a real thing, but it could answer our question. And lots of us, some of us believe that God, it's a theory, but it's answering most of our questions. So whether you are a believer or not, basically, please, I'm gonna keep muting you guys. If you have any question, just unmute yourself or write to me, I'll answer it to you. So it's basically the usefulness of a theory. It solves business problem and tells us about opportunities. So when you do your proposal, you need to write up your theory saying, okay, if we do this adjustment to this service or this product, we will be able to do more selling, or we can promote it in Canada, something like that. And then you go and start building your secondary data and the backup information to it. Okay. Now, there is many types of research firms. But overall, there is two type of them. There is an internal and there is an external. And usually big companies like a 3M, IBM, Procter and Gamble, they do have an internal marketing research firm location. And the good part of it is the fact that uh, the research methodology is consistent. They can share the information with all the company. It's lower the cost, and it also stays the information confidential. But most of mid-sized to small companies, if they want to do primary data or secondary data, they might go for outside. And outside, sometimes they give you a black box, not telling you the detail how they're going to do the research or how they got the results. And sometimes they might have answers that meet your expectations. But the benefit of them is they are objective. They're outsiders, so they're not influenced by the inside information or to be a member of the company. Um, so they are less subject to the company politics. If somebody comes up with a negative answer, he might be getting fired. But as an external, he's not worried about that. And they are more into regulation. And also most of the time, it could be, escalatable. So if you find out that you need a bigger samples, they can do that for you. And they have the talent and the specialized people to do this marketing research. Now, there's some type is kind of a broker or facilitators. So they don't do a market research, but they help to establish the floor for it, or they send people who do, the research on behalf of the company. So they take the questionnaires or something and go like talking to the people. Some of them, they do a customized research, which is they do a tailored ones. And some of them, as I said, is like a standardized. They already collected all the data, primary and secondary data, and they have a system that they can customize it to your answer, to your questions, and give you the answers for them. And they charge you for that, for answering these questions. Now, the reason is the requirement for a successful executing project change with the expansion of a marketing research firms. Now, what does that mean? It means that some research firms, usually expanding horizontally or vertically, so they needed to add more utilize more tools, like the tool that I'm trying to uh, put you to use it is like the ability to look at the secondary data and interpret them. Try to understand what these data is telling you, and from there you drive your presentation skills, and you drive your presentation, and you drive your final finding and proposal. So there is some companies, the marketing research firms, who is, they, because they're expanding worldwide, they need to have also a foreign language competencies, because they might run to a different language. Especially there is some companies who is they work in Middle East and India and North Africa, Europe. So they need different languages, ability to speak with that, utilize that language. And they should also have a negotiation skills to negotiate with once they do supply with their proposal for doing this marketing research. I'm not going to go on details of this one. I'm going to, you just go through that. It is an ethical challenges in the marketing research, but in general, a researcher provider there is selling unnecessary services, padding expenses, giving more expenses that is hidden cost. They might not maintaining confidentialities. These are the research providers. Probably cost cutting in a project, which is sometimes will be resulting in a not right research. Interviewing, not going out to interview, doing it internally with their employees. So all these things, it's unethical to do as a marketing research firm. As a client who's requesting these information, this proposal, you might be give them a deceptive future business promises that if you give us a discount now or you give me a research for free, I will buy more from you, or requesting a proposal and not intend to buy it. These can be an abusive side from the client or research buyer. So there is ethical things that you need to, you go through this exhibit. It's also available in the book. You can, it's a very straightforward. For example, you fake in a research sponsorship, you go to a place and you start, doing a survey, and you're putting different name because you don't want to, the others want more people answering the questions, or you promise them a gift or to win something if they answer these questions. These are all unethical, abusive way to get people to get a research provider to collect the primary data. Sometimes you are exposing them to a physical abusiveness or emotional abusiveness, and that's unacceptable. So there is a few things that you need to, as a research provider, not to do it because unethical, and as a client or research buyer, also you need to do a few things that is not ethical. Now, the pitfalls in that, in general, the biggest important things, I think an ethical pricing. So you might be starting with a low price and hiding so much pricing when you do your research, such as traveling costs, laptop costs, I don't know, telephone costs. It's not there. So you might giving somebody not a plain flat cost. And sometimes that's in case that you are just hiding these costs. And sometimes you are adding more research because there is a budget and you're aware of that budget. So you just add more unwanted research just to charge, to abuse that budget. Or you expose the client confidentialities issues. For example, most of the time, a client wants to do, has intention of launching a new product or expanding in a different countries, and then you are letting competition be aware of that, and they might be competing with them on unfair. base. Now, the other thing is use of black box methodologies. You're not telling in your proposal, you're not telling what kind of methodology you're using. You're just giving an answer. And that's what you call a black box, because as a research buyer, I want to know, how did you do your research? How did you collected it? What's your methodology of collecting this research? So that's very important for the buyer of the research. So in our case, as look at me, I'm a buyer of your research. So you are the research provider for me. So when you are writing your research, you need to cover all these. So when I see unnecessary research service or unnecessary research, it will cut off your mark. If you're saying, if you are using, you're not telling me your methodologies, how you are going to collect the data, how you're going to classify the data. It's also, that's a part where you are, you know, as a research provider, might get a penalty for that, or you might lose the part of it. So you take these into consideration. You're looking at me as your professor, but right now I am your research buyer, and you are 5 members of the team or 6 are the research providers. So you need to go through these steps in order for to come up with a perfect final assignment. So some of the cases that you are, as a research provider, are facing is that you think, okay, if I'm not answering what they are looking for an answer, I might lose their business. And that's the fearful of once you meet with the research buyer, he's already indicating, saying what's his interest and what his plan. You need to know all the details of the plan. You need to monitor the situation. But it's already he's telling you, giving you a hint what kind of answer he's looking for. And that could be a very pitfall, very big pitfall, very dangerous thing, to answer the questions that he wants you to answer them in a certain way. So he might put some pressures on you, and some to drive some conclusions, gives you a bias information where it drive you to a certain conclusion, or he do a cost cutting for you, so you cannot really perform your standard. And this is why you start up with a proposal to do a marketing research. So he has to, once he signs on it, he has to obey and follow these rules. Interviews working for a research firm engaging in ethical behaviors. So they might be inside inside the firms. They just want to save costs, so they go and ask their own co-workers to answer these questions. And that's really causing unethical and most of the time bias. The other things that you might be facing is as a research provider, not providing promise incentives to respond for completing the interviews. So you're asking somebody, saying, if you answer this question, you will be getting a pen, and you're not giving the person a pen. Or if you're answering these questions, you say, well, you might get a free trip to some countries, and you are not giving that free trip. So there is lots of promises, and starting the interviews are very short when it's reality takes forever. So when you go to someone and says, okay, it's going to take 1 minute from your time, and then he finds out it's going to take half an hour, or you are facing, you're giving him saying, okay, this is sponsored by Coca-Cola. As a matter of fact, as the sponsor is different, and a small no names thing. Those are all deceptions or involved in, they might, a marketing research firm do that, and this is unethical. These are all, it has to be, some of them has to be before a startup very clear, and some of them in the end of the interviews, it has to be clear. So if you need to start a deception for a person that you're going to interview, you want to make sure once this the interview is finished, you have to debrief it to the interview and be very clear what you are probably trying to do there. Okay, now let's move on very quickly. So if we can probably finish this one. Sometimes you are trying to do marketing research, pretending you're doing marketing research, but actually you're trying to sell something, or you get a donation from somebody, and that's called suggestion or fudging. And the anonymizing of data, combining different publicly available informations. It's also unethical. There is so much things that a researcher can create, and tools that makes a result of a research very biased. And always you will see bad news announcement in the news that done by a pharmaceutical company or by a bank or something, that announcing that researchers have abused the result, have used the deceptive tools. There are so many ways of utilize abusing these things. So you need to be careful of how not to abuse these marketing research tools. Now, other unethical activities is requesting detailed research proposal from, as a client like me, asking you to do me a proposal, but I'm not paying for it, or I'm probably providing dishonest answers, because I'm answering non-right answers, that giving you fake answers. For example, if I'm thinking that after I write this feedback, I will get $100, and I'm single, but they're looking for a married person. So in the beginning, I will put, yes, I am married. So in order for me to answer the questions, and I collect my $100 and end of it. So that could be one of the dishonest answers, or promising a prospective research provider long-term relationship. That's another fake behaving from the research buyers. I need you to go through this. It's nothing very difficult to understand. So there is a code of ethics that you probably need to hold on to it to understand how things it's done through a marketing research firm and through marketing research societies. You confirm all that to all national and international laws. You obey them, you conform to them. You behave ethically, be practical and careful with the children, vulnerable people, ensure the respondents are cooperating voluntarily. You don't make them to answer these. As well, inform them of the risk. Uh, respect the right of respondents. He doesn't want to answer, that's fine. So he has a right of that. Uh, Personal data, very important, because uh, there is, especially in Europe, even in North America, but mostly in Europe, there is so many laws is being implemented for the personal data and intent of using it. So you need to know all these ethical, because if you're not considering these, there's some countries will be penalizing you for not doing it according to these ethics. Now, I think this is probably the last slide, and we'll take a break. As today, because of the COVID thing, our assignment will be mostly driven from secondary data collections method. And I said, you don't need to follow what the video has suggested. You can have other sites that you can collect these data, but make sure it's a good source of collecting data. Like could be a Wikipedia. That's a good tool of collecting secondary data, or Google, Facebook, all these tools that can collect a good secondary data. Movement toward technology-related data management. There was, as I said, there are so many IT solutions these days. Most of mid-sized to a large organization, they have in-house developed application to collect data, or they purchase something like that. So that shouldn't be any problem. But overall, the situation is because of the digital expansion, and you will be as a team involved so much into the digital related data. Although when you go to the real market, your startup job might be on the outside collecting data, because these are a very good jobs. You're inside the office and you're probably making a good salary just searching the internet and collecting the secondary data. So there is a movement beyond data analysis, and that's called the data mart, data interpretation and information management. And these are tools you might be purchasing them in the future if you're working for a research firm, or also you're working for a firm that they have on research department. They might have these such tools. And today, because of the technology and the internet, the border international client is internationally. So you might be having a product in Canada and you want to do a marketing research for it in India. So you go and start searching whether there is a demand for such a product during using the internet and secondary data. Okay, I think now we have finished the chapter 1. We are in the 3rd week, so we'll take a break. 2:25. We will be back at 2:25, and we'll start. Hi, class. Can you hear me? Okay, great. From now on, probably you are the one in charge of finalizing your team members. So if you planning to add to your team the person, you just add him and you become 5 or 6, maximum 6. And if you don't find a person, you announce it on the Padlet or on the Facebook or on the Yammer. I will send you all these links, and please add yourself to these links. So these would be places to do a collaborations. And where we are here, it's about doing a collaboration. I think the education changed, the total education with this COVID thing is changed. You're not going to see lots of people face to face, and you're going to need lots of type of tools that you're going to use in the future for collaboration tools. As one of the management of Zoom said, all these years we didn't have that many members, but now we have so many members. It suddenly went up. All these years, when I speak about using the Zoom or using the Meet Me or any other tools, some of my clients were worried about how to use them because they never used them before. And but now everybody is using these collaboration tools. So you need to learn and how to use these collaboration tools, how to make them useful. Also for a job searching, you need to use the job searching tools these days. You need to be a member of LinkedIn. You need to download these job searching tool to find a job. Fix up your CV. Start communicating, utilizing all these tools away from socializing. And so far, what we have been using, we're using these tools for socializing mostly. But these tools have so many faces that we can utilize it to our benefits. So keep in mind, probably for the last 10 years, most of the project that I was handling, it came from one of these tools, mostly from LinkedIn or from my collaboration tools that I use. So COVID has pushed us to do that now. It's not an option for you. It's not an option for me. It's just you need to go on with the life this way. Now let's continue with the class. Let me know if you have any question. So you go on the Padlet and you make announcement if you're not 5 members or 6 members, or you go on the Yammer and do that and find someone with a group. If you, after all these activities, and you still end up with 4 people, you can let me know saying, well, I couldn't find any, and we are only 4 people. I understand that. If I cannot, I will allocate 1 person, and if I cannot, then you will need to allocate 1 person. Now, I will be glad to also, we can try one more thing. Most of us, we stop the videos because the probably for the bandwidth reason. If you like to, and you can have your video on, so at least we can get this feeling that we are talking to a live person face to face. Eventually, we will end up feeling that we are in a real class, not in a virtual class. So feel free, if you have a good bandwidth, internet bandwidth, go live. Wonderful. I see some people are doing that, this is an excellent thing to do, to go on it, and we can see each other very well. Now, I'm just going to share the second chapter, which is, I think it's a very important that we can use this, finish this chapter, because it's a chapter 2 and we are in a week 3 right now. So please bear with me. So we will be using chapter 2, and probably, let me move this thing on the top, and this is chapter 2, and it's about the marketing research process and proposal. So this is the part where we need to do, learn how to do writing a proposal before we submit our final work to the client. And I will be your client, and you will be the marketing research firm. And please, if you can use this marketing research project to your entrepreneurship class, do that. I have no issue with that. The more you can save time, I will be glad that I can help you in saving times. Now, the learning is, we will be describing the major environmental factor influencing the marketing research. So what factors are there to influence what causing a marketing research to kick in? We'll discuss the research process and explain the various steps on it. So a research process made of what? What's the various steps and all these things that's needed. We distinguish between 3 types of designs, because once we do a proposal, we need to know what kind of design we are planning to do, and identify and explain the major component of research proposal. So we need to see every proposal has to made of these elements in it. Now, the value, additional information needed to make a decision or solve a problem. Usually managers comes in and says, okay, to come up with a solution or to come up with a decision, we need more information. And as manager there, he has to decide whether this information can be obtained through his CRM, his personal information, his experience, or he needs to collect it from the market. Now, after that, a solution, a marketing research study based on the scientific research starts there. When he thinks that the information that he has is incomplete and he needs more information and he cannot dig in within his tool that he has to get this information. So the research process, it will be changing the view of the marketing research process. It's basically there is more complexities in the market. We are in Canada, especially, we have a multinational pot, not a melting pot, and everybody is allowed to keep its own culture, its beliefs, and the government is promoting that because in our differences, as they say, we are stronger. Not like USA, where they're a melting pot, hoping everybody becomes an American with the American culture. Here, you can keep your culture. So that makes it, as a marketing research, get more complex in it, more complicated. Um, but the biggest one is the market, is the internet factor. So most of us have a tendency now to look at them at the most influential because the internet has invaded everywhere. So there is a big influence between all of us across the world to, affect our purchase habit, our decision making, and all these things. Um, and what we are going to do, we're going to do something with this proposal, with this work, is working mostly on the secondary data. Once we can do the research and allocate secondary data, data that you don't need to do outside and collect this information, you can find them through the search. And information that, in the definition is secondary data is information previously collected for some other problem or other uses. You can, collect this information. But on the primary data is when the manager feels that the secondary data is still not answering their question, they will go and start collecting the primary data, especially when you come up with a product or something that is not in a market before. So you want to know if that product can be launched. That doesn't mean, always the primary data is usually an expensive thing to do. So it's the last thing that you're going to seek in is a primary data when you feel that the secondary data is not answering your questions. Now, uh, linking purchase data collected in a store and online with the existing customer profile in the company database. So through the CRM, you can always you can do uh, uh, research, find out through your database, data mart, can find out whether you are having enough information. Um, you can do the enhancing the understanding of consumer behavior. As I said, the last example that I told you is a friend of mine who did this benchmarking. And the benchmarking is basically um, it's about you know uh, uh, finding out when the people stop buying diapers. When the young guys, why the youngest guys on the weekend buys more diapers than the weekdays? Because they found out in that supermarket, when he goes and buy beer, he buys diapers. So it is that consumer behavior. But if you are asking this person who bought a case of beer and diapers, ask him, would you when do you buy diapers? He will tell you, I'll buy diapers whenever my children needs it. He's not going to say whenever I go buy beer, I buy diapers, because he's probably doing it subconsciously. So there, sometimes you need to do some monitoring. The worst thing that we can do, I mean, the challenging, the biggest thing that is the gatekeeper technologies. It's gatekeepers, you cannot leave your, these days when you go on the site, you will see, you always will have a promotion or something pop up and asking you whether they can collect cookies from you, allowing the cookies. And that's the law, the new law, which is started in Europe and now it's in North America, in Canada mostly, collecting cookies. So there is a gatekeepers, and lots of people start, putting, a tape on their cameras or clearing their cookies once in a while. So you cannot collect the behavior and the purchasing. So they are offering protections in a way. Now, the other thing is telemarketing. There's a law says It's called, I think, DNCL, do not call list. And when you are doing a telemarketing, somebody will give you the DNLC, do not call list, DNCL, because they are people who they will be suing you if you give them a call, because they already said, don't call me. So, and also there is a illegal scams. You know, if you go, once in a while you get an email saying, if you participate in this survey, you will get a free trip or something like that. So there's lots of illegal scams. Now, how do you do a decision makers make a decision? The process is it, I have to move it up and down because I'm not sure. Development affecting the marketing decision makers. We said it in the first class that um, uh, firms now is widespread, expanding into a global market. And the reason is because of the internet are affecting the decisions, influencing it. The repositioning of the marketing research in a business to play more important role strategy. In the old days, usually what you do, things because wasn't changing very quickly, you have your marketing research firm is in the back office. These days are part of the building this business strategy. So they do a research for helping them, helping you to build your business strategy. Um, and they start calling them information research process department, sometimes they call them. And it's a systematic approach of collecting, analyzing, interpreting, and transforming data into the decision making. So when you collect data, you have to have a tools to convert, to change it to information. And these information will be helping and building business strategy or helping the management to make a decision on it. Now, question comes in here, determining the need for information research. And this is the question decision makers should ask themselves. So we said it in the first half of the class, can the problem, manager always asks himself, can the problem and or opportunity be resolved using the information that is collected from the CRM, from your own database and all these things, or and make a use a managerial judgment according to your work history, or you need a different way to support this decision. So is adequate information available with the company internal record system to address the problem? So I need to make I want to, as a customer, I want to make a decision regarding of certain product, and I don't have enough information. Then I can go use whatever information and I have, and my managerial judgment, which is based on the experience. And if I cannot have enough information, so I cannot make the decision to address the problem, to how to solve it. Now, do I have enough time to make such a decision to be made? So sometimes I know I need to ask for a third party to support me for this information, but I don't have enough time to do it. So I go with the taking a risk sometimes. So these are the process a manager within any organization will go through it. Do I have enough, do I have a problem or opportunity that I need to look at it? Do I have enough experience to make a decision regarding it? Do I have an internal record to support to address this problem? If I don't, do I have enough time to do that? Do I have enough budget to make such a decision? Do I have a people who is their job doing marketing research within my organization or not? So all these questions goes through a mind of manager and management before they make a decision to use a research department or a third party to get this information. Now, is there a benefit to really make this research? So if it's one time, I'm checking my budget, I'm checking my accounting document, my ledger, and I see $50 extra. I don't think it's a good time. It's worth that to spend 5-6 hours to find why my balance sheet is a $50 difference in it. But if this happens every week, $50, then I need to clear this thing because this is a occurring problem and overall outweigh the cost. So sometimes a manager would need to make a decision is to find an answer for this question. Is it worth it or not? Will the research provide me useful feedback, as I said, for the decision making? So if I'm spending my time to see why there is a $50 in a balance sheet extra one time happen, that's not worth it. But if it's happening every week, then or $100 every week, then I need to do my research. So it's worth to look at it. Now, the other thing, sometimes you have a very secretive, a research, and you don't want it to get it out. So you don't want to do a third party, a firm marketing research. A very good example, for example, RFIDs. RFIDs was within the American militaries for the last 20 years. Last 5 years has been published. So somebody 30 years or 40 years or 50 years was doing an RFID research, and they started it, I think, from the Second World War II, to do a research on RFIDs, and then utilized it. Recently, they made it public for the market. So if we are not aware of what kind of researches that it's been done, so it could be kept secret until its things get public. And it's for business reason. It could be aware of the competition. For example, one of the theories that is used for COVID-19 is it's been developed in one of the labs in China, for example. That's what Trump saying. So it could be true or it could be false. But there is lots of things happening inside places that competition should not be aware of it. So hiring a firm marketing strategy, marketing company to do that for research, you might leak this information. So these are 3 points that you need to look at it. Do I have or not insufficient time frame to do this research? Do I have enough adequate resource to spend on this research? So as I said, I'm not going to put 4 or 5 people looking why one time there is a $50 extra in balance sheet. But if it's happening, I have to put these people. So if I don't have 5-6 people and I have $50 monthly loosen up, I don't need to put all my resources focusing to solve this problem because it's going to cost me much more. So does the cost overweight the value? Is there any question? Okay. So here is the different mentality between the decision maker that you need to know and okay. I take attendance every week. I just have to download it from Skype, Zoom. It is there automatically. So I usually every week, after the class, I take attendance, I download it, and I save it in my folder. Please don't worry about that. If you're not attending the class, it's going to show me that you're not attending. If you're attending and leaving the class, it's going to show me how long you've been in that class. So please attend the class if you have time. If you don't, just let me know you're not attending it. But so this is what the thing. So a decision maker, you need to look at the mentality of the decision maker. Innovative thinker who requires information right away, very quickly, and it's to confirm to help them to support their information. Now, the cost of acquiring information is always concern for the researcher, for the managers, decision makers. He is a result oriented. He wants to see, can I sell this or I cannot sell this? Uh, yes, please let me know. Sure. Uh, I don't understand what a group project will be on the next week. The project itself is not going to be until end of the semester, but the group, clarify who is in the group, will be the end of beginning of next week, because the week after I need you to work on your proposal to write what you're going to work on as a project. So this is why you need to finalize your team. Thank you. Okay. Okay. I see you. One more thing, you're gonna have these uh, fully aware of the situation. Uh, so we want to make sure. Okay, you take care. Want to make sure that so they are result oriented and reject information when it is surprise. Managers, they don't like to see surprise information. They want to make sure that their information is not suddenly need to change. So this is why you need to write a proposal, adjust the management to get ready for the decision, being proactive. So, but on the other side, the researcher, the scientific researchers, they are technical, they're more analytical, and explore the new phenomena. This is the last slide we're going to finish, and I'll be there to answer all your questions. Cost is not concern for them, the researchers. They are result oriented and enjoy abstraction and surprises. They love surprises. So see the mentality. It's a totally different mentality between decision makers, which is the management, and the researcher. So you want to make sure that once you are a researcher, to accommodate the way the decision maker is thinking. And if you're a decision maker, accommodate the way the researcher is thinking. So we will stop up to this slide, and I'm here to answer all your questions. Let me know if you have any questions. Just as looking at your questions. Okay, wonderful. A final announcement. All these information, I will publish it on a Google, on a YouTube. Please use the Padlet, use the Facebook. I will send you the link for Padlet, use Facebook, and Yammer to do all the collaboration work. So we don't need to spend every week explaining these questions again and again, please. You use all these tools to want to make sure that you are set up for everything. Is there any question? I'm here. Okay. You just make the announcement which group you are in. You put your name on Padlet or on the Facebook, that is, the link, or on the thing, and start saying, okay, who's in my group? And they will do that. You have a great weekend too. I'm sorry, I don't want to say your names because that doesn't mean I'm considering you. I'm considering you, but I don't want to make it announcement so who is writing what. It's important. Some of you guys don't want to be, everybody. But please, if on the next class, if you can be on camera, so we can see each other, that would be wonderful. I know the bandwidth might not help, but if you can do that, that's fine. And it's okay. You walk around, you eat your food, you do whatever while you can see it, just to feel like you're sitting in a class. Any other question? Okay. So I'm leaving now. You guys have a